Rishi Sunak is the UK Prime Minister, first Hindu Indian origin Prime Minister of the UK, as the English newspapers are describing him. But Pallavi, Rishi Sunak is becoming the PM in UK, and politics is happening in India. So we
Yeah, that's
nothing.
exactly what I was thinking. जितना वहाँ जोश नहीं उससे ज़्यादा यहाँ पे जोश politics. I mean, it's crazy. I think the news came in late last night. Yeah, around late night yesterday, and since then, both of them have been taking pot shots at each other. Congress, I think, has also indulged in a kind of a self goal. I mean, Shashi Tharoor's tweet, then Chidambaram's tweet actually got worse, where he said a majoritarianism के बीच में we also have to take a lesson out of UK, very conveniently forgetting that Dr. Manmohan Singh was flaunted as a Sikh Prime Minister. In fact, Aman, I got a very bizarre reaction from one of the Congress panelists who replies to our tweet to say that Sikhism is actually a part of Hinduism. And I don't care what the Congress party has to say, but the point is that I still remember when he became the Prime Minister, the Congress made the point that we've chosen a Sikh Prime Minister, a minority community Prime Minister, especially in the backdrops of the Congress apology of the 1984 Sikh riots.
Absolutely. And, I think two major points in this debate, Pallavi. I think I just tweeted that also, that the first point is that India has had minority leaders in top positions, not just once, multiple times. We've had Muslim presidents. We've had, in fact, APJ Abdul Kalam was appointed as the president during the NDA tenure, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee's tenure. A minority president we've had, and we've had, as you said correctly, Manmohan Singh has been prime minister for 10 years. Many other top positions in various other, be it in the judiciary, be it in the armed forces, have been occupied by leaders, by minority persons coming from the minority community. So it is very strange that these kind of comments are coming. Second point I think I want to raise is that, it should be remembered that Rishi Sunak is a British born person. He's not a non-British born. So, it is not as if UK is making somebody a prime minister who's not born in Britain. If you go back to the debate of why Sonia Gandhi could not become the prime minister of India and turned the offer down because BJP attacked her for being born abroad. Rishi Sunak is not born abroad. He has Indian origins. His grandparents belong to undivided Punjab, but they immigrated. His parents were there. He's in fact born in Southampton in England. So in a way, these are two important points that, in this whole debate. I think coming to the Pallavi, if we discuss the Congress point very briefly, what Mr. Chidambaram is saying that he's attacking, I think what the Congress will put this now is that the present dispensation. So, it is attacking that the present dispensation of the BJP, where you don't have a single Muslim minister in your cabinet. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi was there, but now he's no longer the minister after completing his Rajya Sabha term. So I think this is something that the Congress, I think, wanted to attack, but the wording of it, and now clearly the BJP is now going after them, saying that look at the record, and also I think BJP raising a very important point, and that it should be merit, which should be the basis for somebody occupying a top position, not his religion or not his ethnicity. And in the case of UK, we've seen 3 PMs in the last 2 months, from Boris Johnson and then and now Rishi Sunak coming. So it's basically merit which is determining such decisions.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I was also looking at the social media timeline of some of the Congress leaders. They're not even talking about it openly, but somewhere down the line, I think they're trying to take the narrative. Right? Look at Sonia Gandhi. She also had a foreign origin, and how the BJP consistently keeps attacking her. And for UK, Rishi Sunak will be seen as foreign origin, and the BJP is, kind of celebrating that moment. But again, this whole question of merit and credibility comes in. I think, as you pointed out very correctly, the reason Rishi Sunak has become the prime minister, not because I think UK wanted to prove a point, or we need someone who is not a bit Brit or who's fair-skinned, or we want someone who belongs to a minority community, so on and so forth. I think the point that they had to make was that, and they wanted to make one, is that here's a person who can actually get over that economic the economic setback which UK is facing, and therefore, he'd also have to prove his mettle. He can't get away by saying, okay, this is my origin. Second thing is, are we celebrating too much, Aman? Do you think so? I mean, experience has shown. I mean, we had these huge hopes of Kamala Harris and so on. But Rishi Sunak, at the end of the day, will have to survive in politics of UK. how is it going to be soft so much of India? At the end of the day, I think it's going to be more Brit than even the British are, or he'll have to prove a point that I'm Brit. I'm not going to celebrate the Indian origin. And as I also think people are also finding the Indian aspect in Rishi Sunak because of the brother-in-law or the son-in-law of who he is. I mean, Narayan Murthy's son-in-law. So we are also celebrating that. But another point which we also need to talk about is the PDP, Mehbooba Mufti. I think that was a super self-goal. I mean, very counter comes in from the BJP is that then will you accept someone who belongs to a Hindu community as the chief minister of the valley?
Absolutely, that's a very important. Amit Malviya has tweeted that the BJP
Yeah.
spokesperson, anti-cell head, saying that will Mehbooba Mufti accept a Hindu chief minister in JNK. So I think the debate also Pallavi. I think Rishi Sunak has had his fair share of opposition in the UK. He's not come the easy path. There were in the Conservative, a lot of Tory MPs were in fact against him. And on that, let's just first hear what Rishi Sunak had to say yesterday in his speech after he was announced as the leader of the Conservative Party. Let's listen in just to Rishi Sunak.
I'd like to pay tribute to Liz Truss for her dedicated public service to the country. She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change and under exceptionally difficult circumstances, both at home and abroad. I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together, because that is the only way we will overcome the challenges we face and build a better, more prosperous future for our children and our grandchildren. I pledge that I will serve you with integrity and humility, and I will work day in, day out to deliver for the British people.
Clearly, Pallavi, if you listen to Rishi Sunak, the line that he particularly says that I want to give back to the country what essentially they have given to us. So in a way, Rishi Sunak is also somebody who hasn't shied away ever from his South Asian from his Asian credentials, his Indian background, but also putting weight on the fact that he's born in Britain and he has got a lot from that country. So in a way, a very good mix as a politician, and in fact, he's also not very clearly in earlier interviews. I've listened to his interview with the BBC. Very clearly said that I am a devout Hindu. So he goes to Hindu temples. In fact, the temple in Southampton, which was co-founded by his grandfather, over 50 years ago, to that temple, goes regularly to that temple, and is married to Narayan Murthy's daughter. So he has two daughters, and so it's basically a family which has strong Indian roots. But clearly, that is not the reason for Rishi Sunak to become the prime minister. I think that is where the debate in Indian political circles is going completely wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about he also playing his Hindu credentials, I mean, for example, feeding and worshipping the cow, those pictures are very much there to see, and which also enthuse the people over here, at least our politicians over here. And I remember one of the interview in which he was asked that if India and England is playing, which team are you going to be supporting? He said, but obviously England. So he's obviously going to be as Brit as a Brit can be. And why not? I mean, he owes his political genesis, his existence, his success, all of that to there. But somehow over here, and this is exactly how we started off, Aman, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा there is going to be a debate हो रहा है. We are celebrating as if one of our own has become the Prime Minister of UK. I mean, he has, but in a different way. I mean, the Congress taking pot shots at the BJP, reading out the history lesson. But let's also think a little bit about what is it that are going to be our expectations then from Rishi Sunak. I mean, we are obviously, and I'm looking at the tweets coming in from our prime ministers also. They're certainly hoping for good equations and perhaps that little edge because someone from our Indian origin has become the UK Prime Minister. But is that enough?
Yeah, absolutely. See, I think what the Prime Minister's tweet also pointed out clearly, see, India is also looking at this bilateral trade deal which has been on hold for many a time now, and India had been actively pushing it. I think that is something that the country is clearly looking at, that under Rishi Sunak, because and Rishi Sunak in the past, Pallavi, has spoken about enhancing India-UK trade relations. So this is something, a positive development, I think, for India, and that is why the PM in his the Vision 2030 that India and UK had arrived at last year, that also found a mention in the PM's tweet yesterday, and also the huge Indian diaspora there. There are multiple businesses, multiple companies,
Yeah.
very very successful companies in the UK run by the Indian diaspora, which contribute a big way to the Indian economy. So it's a mutual relationship between both countries, and somehow under Boris Johnson, Pallavi, that warmth was a bit missing. Boris Johnson's visit to India also took its own sweet time to happen. Then, when he came to Ahmedabad, PM Modi did not go to Ahmedabad to receive him. Unlike, what PM Modi gave for the US president or the Chinese premier, for example. So in a way, India was also not very sure about Boris Johnson. We didn't know how much he's going to last ultimately in the chair. But now with Rishi Sunak coming, and probably the UK elections are far off. UK elections will be sometime in January 2025. So, Rishi Sunak is going to be there for a considerable time if he continues as the PM, because we don't know about British politics, what happens there, and how quickly
Yeah, yeah,
leaders
yeah.
might. But he's going to be there for a long time. So India is looking, I think, very, very positively at Rishi Sunak taking over, and maybe that warmth in that relation, what Mr. Modi, revels in, having that personal equation with other premiers. I thought that was something that was not very much there with Boris Johnson, but I think with the Rishi Sunak, that thing may come up because of obviously his Indian connection. I think that thing will show, but this politics has clearly brought Rishi Sunak right into the middle of Indian news cycle today, and the pretty strange tweets, I
That's
would
our
say.
claim to his Indian origin, yeah. But Aman, it's
Yeah,
also very ironical. If you look at the newspapers in Britain itself, I mean, the morning after he becomes the prime minister, they are not exactly welcoming him. I mean, I remember the Mirror, for example, the front page of Mirror talks about the fact that is this the death of democracy, the unelected prime minister. And he's being described as the first colored prime minister. Nowhere are they talking about the fact that Indian origin or Hindu. So it's going to be very tough for Rishi Sunak because, I mean, I know it's your favorite country really after India, Aman. But the fact is that they are deeply known to be very racist. The Brits are known to be very racist. And they are not going to let him forget that. So he'll have to walk that extra mile to try and convince the Brits, listen, I am a Brit. I'm not just a person of Indian origin. So look at me like someone who
yeah,
belongs to
absolutely.
UK. Yeah. So that's going to be one challenge for him. And we've had
The
very
people,
hopes
Priti
high
Patel
from,
are there,
yeah,
there are other leaders like Priti Patel, Indian origin, who have had their fair share
exactly.
of troubles on this. Yeah, so yeah,
The
I
immigration
completely agree with you.
policy, Preeti Patel's
Yeah,
immigration policy, I mean, that brought a lot of criticism.
yeah. So that is an issue. I think that is a challenge before Rishi Sunak also, to that the people warm up to him, that a British born but an Indian origin person is now their prime minister, and that thing. I think Rishi Sunak faces that big challenge too. And if you see, the speech that just got played out, he's trying to build on that. That is the points of unity, the points of cohesion, the points of all being one. I think he's trying to build on that, and UK desperately needs it. There's high inflation. There is the Ukraine war has wreaked havoc on the West, including the
Yes.
United Kingdom. So that is the reason of this political instability. There, even when I was in the UK for 2 months, Pallavi, on this fellowship, the whole debate was about this. Then is Boris Johnson going to go? Is Rishi Sunak going to take over? That was controversy over Rishi Sunak's wife's tax proceeds, which broke out at that time. And his wife had to declare that she will also give tax in UK, though she was not needed to at all, and it was completely legal for her to not do so. But she agreed to do it because that was in a way being questioned for Rishi Sunak's elevation as the prime minister, and to be absolutely clean. So these, and British UK, Pallavi, has a very very critical press, very very critical, vibrant media. So nobody gets it really easy there, and
Yeah.
I think Rishi Sunak is also not going to get easy there. He's
Even the
tenured
chai
with,
his wife was serving to journalists has come in for so much of flack. And there were so many
yeah,
memes made on that. I think
yeah.
one
So
cup
I think
cost how much? How many pounds was it supposed to be? 500 pounds or something? Was the
yeah,
chai,
I think so.
forget the chai, the pyala, the cup. Yeah.
So it's a very critical place. UK. It is said that UK press, in fact, is responsible for Boris Johnson finally bowing out of the relentless pressure which was brought. And I think the lens will be very very much on Rishi
Yes.
Sunak also, because these are testing times. He was in fact the Chancellor of the Exchequer when that budget had come. I remember the spring budget during the couple of months back, and he was under a scanner for that also. I think we have to really cut government spending. There are many challenges before him, but in India, Pallavi, हम बिना किसी बात के पॉलिटिक्स में घुस गए हैं. ऋषि सुनक कहीं पीएम बने हैं और हम
क्या बोलते
आपस
हैं
में
वो
लड़ रहे हैं यहाँ
बेगानी
पे
शादी में
हमारे
अब्दुल्ला दीवाना, बेगानी शादी में अब्दुल्ला दीवाना.
बेगानी.
Yeah, if I
So,
put it right.
thank you so much, Pallavi, for joining us.
Thank you, Aman.
Interesting discussion. Let's see if politics goes on or it ends here. Thank you so much for joining us, Aman and Pallavi signing off for CNN News 18.
Thank you.